In this lecture, we will learn about not null SQL constraint. By default, the database column can store null values, means no value in the data row. By defining not null constraint to the table column, the default behavior of database column changes and it does not accept null values. In database table, we can have some columns where storing null values doesn't make any sense. For example, in our students table, we have first name and last name column. There is no possible data row where student's first name or last name will have null value or no value. In such case, we should define not null SQL constraint to first name and last name columns. The not null SQL constraint can be defined to strings as well as numeric data types. Let's learn more about not null SQL constraints with some practical examples. I have logged in my MySQL database server using root username and password. I'll select school database using SQL statement use school and display students table structure by using SQL statement describe students. You can see in the students table structure, first name and last name columns have no value for null constraint. It means the first name and last name won't accept null values. Let's modify the students table definition using alter table statement and accept null values for first name and last name. The SQL statement will be alter table students modify column, the column name first name, data type varchar 40 characters long. This time it will accept null values. Modify another column. The column name is last name. Its data type also 40 character varchar and it will also accept null values. Press enter to execute the SQL statement. Now display students table structure again by using describe students SQL statement. And now the column first name and last name column have null constraint value yes. It means the first name and last name can accept null values. Let's insert a new data row with no first name and last name. The SQL statement will be insert into students first name, last name, class, age, and the values null for first name, null for last name, and null for class and age columns. Press enter to execute the SQL statement. We get query OK, one row affected message. It means we successfully inserted the new data row. Now display all the data rows in students table using SQL statement. Select star from students. And sure enough, we have a new data row which does not contain first name, last name, class and age values. But this row doesn't make any sense in students table. Therefore, it's better not to allow inserting null values for at least first name and last name columns. Let's modify the table structure again and enable not null for first name and last name columns. But before modifying the table column again, we must first delete the data row which contain null values in first name and last name. Otherwise, the system won't allow us to modify the column constraint. To delete the data row with null values, we can use delete from students where first name is null. Execute the SQL statement and the data row with null value is gone. Let's modify the column constraint again using SQL statement alter table students modify column first name varchar 40 character long, this time not null. Modify another column last name data type varchar 40 character long and it also not null. Execute the SQL statement. Verify the details by displaying table structure, describe students, and sure enough, the column first name and last name null constraint values are no. It means it won't accept null values. Now let's try to insert the student record with null value for first name and last name. The SQL statement will be I'll press up arrow key to get the previously executed SQL statement and I'll press enter to execute the SQL statement again. I'll press enter to execute the SQL statement again, and this time we get an error message, first name cannot be null. It means we cannot save the data row using no value for first name and last name column.